Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Oscar's Cozy Corner. Today, I thought we would dive into something that has been on my mind as I've worked through the Frost Fairies star path. Now, that is the question. Is this the most difficult star path that we've ever had in Disney Dreamlight Valley? Of course, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Oscar, we have 63 days to complete this star path. What are you talking about? But of course, for me personally, and I know a lot of other players, they like to speedrun the star path. They like to do it as quickly as they can to get it out of the way. And usually that's for two reasons. One, because they want the items, which I do. But then two, of course, because star paths are usually pretty grindy. A lot of us just want to get those out of the way as soon as possible so they're not kind of like hanging over us. Of course, you can play the game however you want. There is no judgment here, and I hope no judgment in the comments. But looking at this star path, just objectively, from my point of view right now, I'm nearly at the end. I've just unlocked the bonus pages. It is going to take me quite a while to get through those as well. However, considering I've completed the quote-unquote base star path, it does feel a lot grindier than usual. It's a lot longer, there's more tasks that are time-gated, and on the whole, I'll be honest, it was a little bit of a slog to get through. However, is it really the toughest, or am I just feeling maybe the winter chill? Let's take a look in this video how it stacks up against the others from 2024, because that's when I started, so I'm only going to use the most recent ones, and then we can make a little decision at the end. But with that being said, let's just jump straight into it and get going. Firstly, I just want to take a super quick trip down memory lane. This year has obviously been packed with star paths. Each has had its own very specific vibe. Lovely Monsters obviously gave us a mix of Monsters Inc. and Valentine's Day items. A Day at Disney was of course focused on the parks. Then we had Majesty and Magnolias that brought Mulan, followed by Dapper Delights with Tiana. And then the most recent one prior to Frost and Fairies, of course, was the Night Show, which was kind of controversial in terms of its items. However, the star path itself, I think, ended up being pretty fun. And of course, obviously, we're now here with Frost and Fairies, the last star path of 2024. The first thing that I do want to touch on is there does feel to be an extreme amount of tasks this time around. The Frost and Fairies star path actually has 109 duties to complete. Now that is nearly double the average of most of the other star paths this year. For example, Lovely Monsters had 80 tasks, and then Dapper Delights and the Night Show were around 60 tasks each. But it's actually not just the number of tasks, because obviously we've got the bonus items from what they're calling the Ultimate Star Path for Frost and Fairies. So it does make sense that we need extra duties to complete those to unlock tokens to get the recolored items, and of course the house skin at the end. But they also seem to have upped the duties that come with what I would consider extra difficulty level. So those are things like fishing from blue ripples in specific biomes, because not only are blue ripples rare, you can't use the fishing potions with them, you're also not even guaranteed to catch the right fish even if you find one. Plus, they're kind of locking it down to biomes, so they're saying fish for something in a trusted place or fish for crabs in the Frosted Heights. And at least for me, anything caught outside of those biomes, even if they are the correct fish, they're not counting towards the duty. So not only are they locking down the biome, they're locking down the color ripple, and then they're also locking down like the RNG because it can give you more than one type of fish. I will say, if it isn't clear, the fishing tasks are my least favorite and they are the most irritating just for me. But they've also increased the number of memory tasks. So obviously they introduced that with the Night Show Star Path to collect memories. Memories are obviously notoriously difficult to get. The orb drop rate is not very high. If you prepped for the Star Path and you knew about the buff on the potion in the Storybook Veil that gave you kind of like unlimited memories almost, you might have prepared that way. However, it is worth noting that if you can't do that and you don't have the memories available to open right now, you can create a advanced ancient gardener. It will do the digging for you, and quite often you will just get memory orbs from it doing the digging, which does help a little bit. That's how I did it on the Night Show Star Path. And of course, there are the mine for shinies tasks, which just seem to work against you no matter what you do. Like, I've been stuck on the topaz task for quite a while. I just cannot get past it. Nothing anywhere in any DLC or base game is giving me shiny topaz. It's almost as if when you've got the task on your to-do list in your duties, the game's kind of like, no, we're not going to give you any of those. So what actually makes this star path so different, or feel so different, at least for me, while I'm nearly like 90% of the way through, and why it feels particularly grindy? I would say number one, they feel like a number of time-gated tasks this time around, even more so than usual. A lot of duties are actually limited by what you can do in like a single calendar day. For For example, you can only talk to villagers once a day, and gift giving is capped at 3 per villager per day. I know it doesn't sound like much, because if you're kind of like working through the star path slowly, you might only be running into this now and again. However, if you do prefer to speedrun the star path, and I know a lot of players do, I'm the same, it is worth noting that there are a lot of time-gated tasks this time. So what I try to do is I always try to get my duties at the end of the day to all time-gated ones, so I can just pick those up the next morning and hopefully complete them. I seem to find that that is the easiest way. It's not always possible if you can't get something like a shiny gem or, you know, whatever the duty calls for. But yeah, it seems to be the easiest way for me to finish on time-gated duties, start on time-gated duties. That's generally how I play it. Number 2, Daisy Boutique challenges. They seem to have escalated this time. There just seems to be an unlimited number of them. Obviously, I'm being dramatic, but there are an increase in those challenges. I wonder if they're finding perhaps in the analytics, nobody's really going to daisies. I know there's some amazing creators out there that do some incredible touch of magic designs, but on the whole, I don't think the regular player is really going into Daisy's store. So I think they're just kind of like trying to remind us like, this is here, you know, use this as well. But again, you can only complete one of these per day. It kind of mirrors the time-gated tasks. I just wanted to highlight this one by itself. What you can do with these as well, you can try to stack the Daisy tasks together. So you can have 3 Daisy duties open, and then once you complete one, it actually counts for all 3 duties, if that makes sense. And it is worth noting there are actually 5 Daisy Boutique challenges this time around. So a lot of those are like 2 or 3 day ones. So that can take you up to like 10 days if you hit them all separately, which is a lot of time gating. Number 3, what makes this star path feel so different as well is the ultimate star path extras. Now, of course, this is the first star path with the bonus option. It does come with those extra rewards like recolored items and that incredible house skin at the end, but you do have to complete even more duties to earn them. It's great for completionists, but it is a lot of extra effort, and I assume that is why the star path is 109 tasks this time around. But it is, of course, worth highlighting as well that this star path is much longer than we usually get, so I believe it's 63 days. Putting that into perspective, the longest for 2024 otherwise was the Majesty and Magnolia star path, which ended up being 50 days. So it is actually 2 weeks extra than the longest star path we've already had. The shortest star paths were the Depth Delight star path and A Day at Disney, and they were only 42 days. So it's actually a whole 3 weeks longer than those. Some of you might be asking, is it worth the effort? Of course, like I just said, this is a long star path. It is a grind. There's plenty of time to work on this. But if you do want the items, especially as we come into winter and we come into the Christmas season, a lot of these items are focused for the winter. So you might want them this side of Christmas, you know, especially with Dream Snaps coming up. We're definitely going to have some winter and Christmassy themes. So you really might want to get your hands on these as soon as you can. And of course, the rewards are incredible, especially if you've gone for the ultimate version and that house skin right at the end. I really want that. I haven't got there yet. I've still got a bit more grinding to do. But the icy aesthetics and the unique items are kind of perfect for anyone wanting that Frosty Fairy aesthetic. However, tasks like fishing from the blue ripples, unlocking memories, earning 5,000 Dreamlight, that is one of the tasks. It's safe to say that it is not for the faint of heart if you don't like grinding, because this is an incredibly grindy star path. But to answer my own question for this section, is it worth the effort? I would 100% say yes, absolutely. Equally, is it also the most difficult star path that we've ever had? I would say yes to that as well. All right, so what do you think? Does the Frost and Fairies deserve the title of the most difficult star path of the year or of ever? Or do you feel like another one has given you a harder time? Perhaps you're only a few tasks deep at the moment and that's the way you like to play it. Or perhaps you've nearly finished. Whichever way it is, do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'm always eager to hear what you think. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe and maybe hit the bell for more Disney Dreamlight Valley content. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I will see you in the next one, and I will, of course, see you in the valley.